Money talks. It can also silence. That's happening now as leaders in Washington are using business threats in an attempt to influence the programming of the big TV networks. It's also one of the reasons Congress revoked our federal funding to weaken the role public media plays as part of the free press. But we have something going for us that commercial broadcasters don't have. We have listener support.
Check it out. It is just after October 1st, which was the date that the CPB stopped existing for real.
A corporation for public broadcasting.
And we are primarily funded by our listeners, people who value the station, by you. That's especially important now because our federal funding has been revoked and that corporation has been dissolved as of October 1st. Please support your future NEPM listening by giving during our fall membership drive, nepm.org.
If you love the Fabulous 413 and the Fabulous 413 podcast, give now.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Real Pickles, a worker-owned cooperative in Greenfield producing organic fermented vegetables sourced from Northeast farms. More information at realpickles.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar, helping Western Mass families achieve greater energy independence through solar power, battery systems, and air source heat pumps. Northeast-solar.com.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalil Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, we'll meet the president of Smith College, Sarah Willie-LeBreton, and learn more about the announcement they've made about admissions and financial aid to that institution.
Now, however, we head to one of the most eastern parts of Western Mass to see how a new generation is getting into agriculture.
Farmer Clark. I like that. Clark is your first name, though, right?
Yes.
So you're not like Ben Clark, fruit farmer from Clarkdale Fruit Farm. Good Ben Clark? No relation.
No relation.
Clark is a fun farmer name, and we are having another local hero spotlight with Farmer Clark Kadis from Farmer Clark's here in Hampden on the border of Massachusetts and Connecticut.
Genuinely enjoying letting your accent just sip out.
Farmer Clark! Yeah. And Jennifer Kaur from CISA, Community Involved in Sustaining Agriculture, the local hero, folks. You feel more like a Jennifer Kaur than a Jennifer Kaur.
That's because I'm from Oregon.
Oh, God, I know mine is going to show up by the end of this interview.
The drive here was unbelievable because I left Turner's Falls, go through 91 all the way through Springfield, then you go into East Long Meadow and all that stuff, and you arrive here in Hampden, and I'm back in like Bernardston or something like that. This is sprawling, beautiful farmland. The foliage is gorgeous. It's a beautiful day. Your home is right here on the land with a pool that I feel like we should go swimming in because it's kind of hot. How did you land here, Farmer Clark?
I've been talking to the gentleman for the last 4 years or so. The land is all in APR.
Agricultural Preservation Restriction, which we learned about yesterday on the show through a fiction book called Harvesting Legacy. You should read it, Jennifer Kaur.
Yeah, right. That. Great.
Were you in the general vicinity? Like you grow up in Hampden and always look at this farm and pine or other tree after it?
I actually grew up in Longmeadow, and then went to Smith Voc in Northampton for ag, and then off to SUNY Cobleskill. I got a bachelor's in ag business. I worked in the area in Hampden at Great Horse. I was the agricultural coordinator, and my family and I have been looking for a farm for a number of years.
So you've been interested in growing like all of your life, basically.
And you're a young man,
Mm-hmm.
so this is something is this your first foray into your own farming?
I've dabbled in it before, but this is the first place to call my own.
And you've been here on this land for, did you say a year?
Whoa!
So you're a baby farmer. You're like a newborn
baby farm!
You're like a newborn farmer.
We need more baby farmers.
We don't mean to be diminutive about it at all. We're just really excited.
Yeah.
It's always awesome to meet young farmers who are interested in taking up the work.
You should see me when I see real babies. I get this excited, or even more so.
Yeah, almost more so.
Jennifer Kaur from CISA, what happens to farms and farmland is something I'm sure that you and CISA deal with a lot. So
And something that we also went into in that book.
Yeah, awesome.
Yesterday's book, Harvesting Legacy. You should read it. They're going to do a thing at Kestrel Land Trust on Wednesday about it. But is Farmer Clark's story here an outlier, or what has usually been happening for what you've been seeing in farm succession planning?
Well, I'm also pretty curious about your story. So to see your house right abutting your farmland is not always a find that's possible for folks. So I'm curious if you can tell us a little bit more about sort of your story getting on this land and what other properties you were looking at, because it is pretty rare. And an APR program certainly makes it more accessible, but that isn't a guarantee.
Plus, you had to wait for that other farmer to say yes. He's not like buried back here in this farmland, is he? Right?
No.
Nothing nefarious happened.
He's still around.
Okay, thank God.
He comes back to help with the hay.
Was he haying this land? Is that what he was
Yeah.
saying? Great.
He had some cows in the beginning, and then primarily was just cutting it for hay.
So talk about coming to terms with taking over this land.
I originally sent a letter in the mail. We were looking to acquire farmland, knowing that was probably the only way to be able to afford it was through this APR. We sent a ton of letters throughout Massachusetts, Western Mass primarily, to farmers or landowners of APR specifically, looking to purchase land. And before I came here, one gentleman reached back out to me in Munson, Chuck Adams, and I ended up leasing some land up there. It's also part of APR. Mm-hmm. I have a second farm stand there.
So it was APR already when you bought the farm?
Yes.
And when APR happens, they pay the farmer to put it in APR, right?
Yeah, so at the time of the deal, that is when a lot of partners come together and pull money from different sources to protect that land, but it can only move to other agricultural producers in the future. So as the landholder of an APR parcel, you are limited to who you can sell that land to. They have to be production agriculturalists.
Do you have to pay to put it in APR, or are you paid?
You are
So
compensated
essentially,
for the development rights on the land, which then makes the value of that land agricultural value, which makes it possible for Clark to then move in and purchase this farm.
So did the farmer get to sell his farm twice, once to APR and once to you, or only the once to you?
Once to me.
Okay.
Because what was sold in the first original land deal that protected the land were the rights, the development rights.
Yeah.
So the land came to Clark without those rights attached anymore.
That's how it all works.
It's a brilliant program.
It really is.
Yeah.
Although if you could double dip and sell it twice, that would be even more brilliant
That's
for
not,
the farmer.
No, late stage capitalism will kill us all. How many acres do you have total then between your two parcels?
Just here in Hampden, there's 37.5 acres in APR and 2.5 that's not. So 40 acres total.
A lot of land for a first-time single farmer.
And it's beautiful just looking at it right now. And you can see easily how this could have been a hay farm. So what have you done in the year that you've been here for the farm that was mostly for haying? And what are your plans going forward?
I've started to remove some trees to create a better area up here to hold nursery stock in the spring. I've acquired some chickens and geese. I sell the eggs in the stand. I've got goats out in the field. They're clearing the fence line. I was awarded the Sarah grant to oversee the fields and clean the fence line and the hedgerow.
What's that grant all about?
It's specific to APR.
So it's like if your land is already protected, you can qualify for this MDAR funding to continue to improve your farm.
Yeah, and it's focused mostly on the second generation, so people moving into newer farms. So I'm hoping to clear somewhere up to 6 acres.
In this forested area here?
No, it's just a stone wall, and it's grown in, 20, 25 feet over the course of hundreds of feet. Adds up quick.
Yeah. Get out the goats.
Yes.
What's your long-term vision? So in 10 years, 15 years, what do you imagine this looking like?
A lot of it to look open like it is, and maybe fill in the hillside with some fruit trees, continue with the animals to the big regenerative agriculture, rotational grazing, that kind of stuff, and then have a seasonal farm stand and a nursery.
And so right now you're selling hay and veg that you're growing?
Yeah, a little bit of vegetables. Continue to morph and change my original business. I originally started as just one seasonal farm stand in Hampden, and then became 2 seasonal stands, but slowing down more of myself growing it. Vegetables are grown on site or locally sourced.
We're at Farmer Clark's in Hampden with Farmer Clark Kadis himself, a young farmer who's only been on this land in Hampden for the last year. And we're with Jennifer Kaur, the new executive director of CISA, the local hero folks.
In your first year growing here, I know you said that you had to change some of what your approach was in this first year, but what were you actively growing here on this land this year?
The livestock, the hay. I have a small garden. It's mostly to just fill the stand.
People don't often think about the importance of local hay in terms of the livestock cycle and our local economy, right? So that hay is moving. I looked at your barn earlier. Beautiful. It's moving out of your barn and out to other livestock producers in the area.
A lot of people with goats and some horses, but really close, right within the 10-15 minutes of here.
Is it true that hay is for horses and better for cows?
I'm not sure.
And people don't eat it because they don't know how? I can't believe I've never used that joke in the years and years I've talked to farmers. This is the episode. It finally made it out there.
Straws cheaper, grass is free, save your money, buy all three. Hey.
Hey!
Okay, we're going off the rails.
Farmer Clark, you grew up in East Longmeadow, you said?
No, Longmeadow.
In Longmeadow. You went to Smith Voke, which is a great ag school. Shout out to those cats over there for helping me with my food bank march cart once again this year and every year for the March for the Food Bank coming up next month.
I'm actually still part of it. I'm actually the advisory chair for animal science.
Oh, wow, cool. Yeah, that's a great community over there, too. But what was it at first in a kind of like suburban setting that made you say, I want to be a farmer?
I used to ride horses, and my parents used to drop me off Thursday nights at Crowley's for the auction, and my grandfather lived down the road, so sometimes I'd be walking back or give him a call because I bought something and need the car.
Like a horse?
No.
You can't put the horse in the car.
No, just horse tack. From there, ended up going to Smith and got my first job working on a farm in Connecticut, Elm Knoll Farm, going into my sophomore year of high school. Mm-hmm. So that's where it all began.
Why start with livestock? I think we've seen a lot more folks come at it from the other end where they start with produce and then maybe add chickens. Why livestock?
To improve the soils here. The biggest thing is the soil classification. The soils are pretty poor.
Because of the years and years of just haying?
I don't think that's all of it. I think it's some of it. I think it's the slope of the land. In some areas are wetter than others, so maybe the nutrients aren't readily available.
So you really are just getting that livestock pooping out there to try to make everything nitrogen rich and all that, or what?
Yeah, it's the beginning of that. I mean, I don't have a huge herd. It's just one of the many focuses.
I think people also often underestimate the importance of perennial grasslands like this in terms of soil health. So when you have the opportunity to do both field crop production and pasturing, it is a really important rotation to get onto that land that has been in perennial grasses for many years, and because the quality of that soil is so improved. So this is like a really protective cover that we're looking at here that is really important. Yeah. Lots of different root depths and lots of stuff going on that is ultimately very good for soil health.
Yeah, I'm currently overseeding it right now.
I'm curious about your equipment. So you came here a year ago. This is a lot of land. It would have been an awful lot of land to grow food crops in. Mm-hmm. What did you have to acquire? Was that a challenge? Did you buy locally?
So the hay equipment all is being purchased from the farmer who was here. And then I've got a whole slew of various vegetable equipment that I've used over the years, and from like raised bed layers and water wheel transplanters, and slowly getting away from that stuff because the things that I do grow here, I'm starting to find like cherry tomatoes, garlic, potatoes, like the things that you can't really find at all these other bigger growers that I still feel that the community wants to enjoy. I also take care of the Hampden community garden. Different people rent shares down there. Growing
food where you live is a big important thing, even if where you live does not seem like the typical place for growing things, like just outside of Longmeadow and East Longmeadow here in Hampden on the border of Connecticut.
If your parents were interested in agriculture and farming, how did they end up in Longmeadow?
No, they're not interested in it.
Oh, they're not? Just you? Okay, great.
Yeah. First generation.
But they just encouraged you in doing it.
Skip generation. So
like mustaches. Like my dad has a mustache, and then I don't, but my son has a mustache.
Yeah. Great grandparents, right? They were all into agriculture.
Yeah, nice.
It skipped a few generations.
Are you still into horses?
Not really.
I was going to ask if maybe you're interested in work horses at all, but no.
My dad really wants to get a draft horse.
Well, we've been to farms that are run by just draft horses, Natural Roots up in Conway, so we know people you can talk to who could assist you if your dad's dream comes true of you buying a horse.
Oh my goodness. Don't necessarily vicariously live through your children that way. Horses are expensive and delicate.
He's just going to give you 2 horses for your birthday and be like, now what do I do
Here
with
you
it?
go. The farmer that was previously on this land, was he haying the whole time, or does he talk to you about the life cycle of this farm while he was stewarding it?
I would say he was more of a gentleman farmer.
Yeah.
Maintaining the land. He would call himself a caretaker.
It's clearly been well cared for.
Yeah, for sure. Like we said, it's so gorgeous. It's such a nice day to be here, and it's exciting to be with a farmer who's only a year in and has this wonderful opportunity and bright future ahead here in Hampden at Farmer Clark's.
I'm curious about the reception of your neighbors as you started doing some direct marketing here. Are people really
Meaning
happy?
a farm stand.
Yeah.
That's,
A translation.
Across the street is the original farmhouse to the farm. And the barn burnt down in 1925 and was rebuilt in 1927. You can still see some of the numbers below from where it was like a tie stall dairy barn.
Can we go in there and look at your
Yeah,
animals?
let's go in there. Walking by the farm stand, a lot of eggs and stuff, but are those pumpkins and gourds for sale, or is that just to make them look pretty?
No, they're all for sale.
Oh, good.
Because it's decorative gourd season.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So tell us about your porch decor.
Oh, the harvest porch?
Yeah.
So my brother just recently moved back with his family from North Carolina, and we're looking for something to do. And he saw that on social media, and we said, well, give it a try. It's kind of taken off. We've probably done 10 or so.
What, do you just get hired to decorate somebody's porch?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're offering 2 different packages. We have one called the Front Door Classic, and then we also offer one called the Harvest Porch. And it's different arrangements of straw, corn stalks, Indian corn, gourds, pumpkins, specialty pumpkins. And it's been working out.
That's amazing. I've never heard anybody do that as a business model.
Really?
Can we hire you out on Halloween to TP somebody's house?
I don't think so.
So this is all you made this? You put this up?
Yeah, that's straw. That's local. This hay here, this is from a friend of mine in Summers. So the barn here, the loft was put in to kind of strengthen the barn because it would move a lot in the wind. And then they used to also have barn dances.
Oh, wow. You got to bring those back, 5 o'clock. We'll be there.
Ooh, it's a real live boogie and a real live hold down. Don't be a come take it to the floor now. Woo!
You guys would like this.
And below is where the textiles were?
He called this the Tranquility Room.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
this is
We got like a
special.
beautiful sunroom as part of the barn. That's so nice.
With sliders out onto the roof. Amazing.
This
Yeah.
is awesome!
Yeah, this is fun. Who needs a she shed or a man cave when you have a barn sunroom?
Tranquility Room.
Tranquility room.
This is like the best place to read.
Yeah, there's binoculars. There's like charts with birds.
What an awesome spot to hang out.
Yeah, I love it. That's nice.
And so this was something that the previous farmer had installed.
Yeah, so after they did hay, they'd come back and have a drink.
Well earned.
You want to walk down here? There's no railing or
Yeah,
we'll go
sure.
down?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll just
Show us
be
all
sure to
your
record me falling down the stairs.
Jennifer, you also chase after livestock. You're nimble.
Depends on the day.
Now we're under the barn here at Farmer Clark's in Hampden.
I see that.
Yeah, so the numbers are from where the cows used to stand.
Oh yeah, nice.
And then I'm working to build some spots for the goats. And out here we've got chickens and geese. They'll probably be pretty loud.
Oh wow, look at those geese are huge. You sell goose eggs too?
In the spring I did.
Yeah, wow.
You often hear about people with ducks. Why geese?
Somebody was getting rid of them last year. And I acquired 2 females. And then somebody else had a few. Actually, an old teacher at Smith I got the male from. And then we incubated some. Just took off.
And they keep your chickens safe.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, they do.
We scared all the chickens out of the coop. Now they're all in the yard. Quiet down! If you do not donate to the fund drive today, this is going to be the entire rest of the show. This noise. NEPM.org or 800-639-8850. I mean it!
I think that they're beautiful, but they are also the only animal on a farm that I am genuinely afraid of.
Yeah, those guys, they can be jerks. Well, Farmer Clark, thank you for showing us your brand new farm and introducing us to your geese and your chickens and the beautiful ideas that you have for this farm in Hampden going forward.
Thank you.
You are very well set up for success here. Just your barn is amazing, the land is amazing. You're good to go. It's exciting.
A lot of work to keep going.
Indeed. We will follow you for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds like a threat, but it's not.
We'll
I
follow
promise.
your success.
The geese thing, though, that is a real threat.
Oh, look, now they're like silent.
You must have donated.
Up next, we explore higher education for the 21st century as we speak with Smith College President Sarah Willie-LeBreton about the changes at Smith and more.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, dedicated to creating access to financial well-being for local people, businesses, and communities. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass Amherst School of Public Policy, offering in-person and online graduate programs in public policy and data analytics. Admissions now open at umass.edu/SPP.
That is Smith College alumna Judith Raskin. It's the Fabulous 413, and one of the things this area is particularly known for is its academics. This year, the institution local to Northampton made an announcement of its Next 150 pledge, an exciting new initiative where tuition will be free for undergraduate students whose families make up to $150,000 annually with typical assets beginning in the fall of 2026.
With us now to talk about this initiative, as well as how Smith is weathering the federal onslaught from an administration that seems to be actively antagonizing higher education as a whole, and more, is the 12th president of Smith College, Sarah Willie-LeBreton.
Sarah Willie-LeBreton became president of Smith College in 2023. She earned a BA from Haverford College and an MA and PhD from Northwestern University, all in sociology. She taught at Colby and Bard colleges, where my oldest son goes, before being tenured at Swarthmore College, where she spent 26 years, concluding with her appointment as provost and dean of the faculty.
An accomplished administrator, scholar, and sociologist who studies race and ethnicity and social inequity, Willie-LeBreton is known for her commitment to the liberal arts, strengthening community, and energizing the work of equity and inclusion. She is the author of several dozen articles, essays, reviews, and op-ed columns, and her first book, Acting Black: College Identity and the Performance of Race, compares the experiences of Black and white college alumni at comparable, predominantly white and historically Black institutions. Welcome to the show, President LeBreton.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I should probably fully disclose that my wife teaches at Smith College, to get that out of the way at the beginning of the conversation.
That's not why we're talking to her.
But that is not why we're talking to
She was not mentioned in the announcement.
Yes, that's
so
right.
It's
and
fine.
the announcement, I believe yesterday is the day that it was officially announced, the Next 150. It is the Next 150 for a number of reasons, and that seems to be an interesting number that surrounds this whole initiative. It's 150 years of Smith College.
That's
and
right.
Looking towards the future, but 150 is that amount threshold for this free tuition. Tell us about what prompted this Next 150 initiative.
I think we were really looking at the students who are applying to Smith, and increasingly they reflect students nationwide. The wealth gap continues to grow. Students continue to need financial aid. And we thought it would really be important to signal to students who are looking at Smith that we're very serious about educating the next generation and educating that group liberally, capaciously, right? We want anybody who applies to Smith and who gets into Smith to be able to go to Smith. So it's not just that we're including students whose families make up to $150,000. It's also that when we meet student need, even if their families make more than that, we're making sure that we cover all of their need so that students don't leave with any debt at all. We also are extending this new initiative to international students, which a number of schools have not been able to do. We're very proud of that. And I think this kind of sets us apart from a lot of places. We want our students to study next to people from every walk of life, from every financial background, geographic background, from all over the world, and to be able to leave Smith unburdened by debt.
Is it your studies in sociology and inclusion that led to that particular part of the 150 pledge? Because that sort of integration is something that you have studied, and the powerful effects that it can have.
I am a scholar of social inequality, but I want to be very clear that Smith was already on a trajectory to be more inclusive when it comes to our student body. For us, it's about inclusion, but it's also about academic excellence and rigor. And so if we're going to continue to recruit the most extraordinary students in the nation, it means being able to recruit extraordinary students whose families couldn't otherwise pay the full tuition, room, and board. So I would say less it's about me as a person and more about a really nice marriage between my own values and my own research and the trajectory that Smith has already been on. Look, 50 or 60 years ago, 2/3 of our students were full pay, and maybe a third got some form of scholarship. We've completely flipped that today, where 2/3 of our students are financially aided and a third are full pay. And that's much more reflective of the country, and it means that we get the very best students in the world to come to Smith.
You mentioned President Willie-LeBreton, that Smith was on this trajectory already. Also, Mount Holyoke, just about a month ago, announced essentially the same thing. Was there collaboration, conversation between these two institutions that are historically female institutions as well to make this threshold the particular amount of money and to make it accessible to people who need it?
And perhaps do you see this rolling through the rest of the colleges, minus UMass? Well, UMass is a university, so they don't count anyway. The rest of the colleges in the 5-college consortium.
That's a great question. No, Danielle, Holly, and I did not talk about this. I think we were really thinking independently of each other. But one of the things that I have noticed is that colleges and universities today, particularly those that are very selective, we really are all doing the same thing that the public colleges and universities are doing in terms of prioritizing access. I think there's a misunderstanding often that if you're a college in New England, or if you're a selective college, or if you have an endowment, somehow you're not for students whose families may be poor or working class or even middle class. And as I've gotten to know presidents across the country, I have not met one higher education leader who is not deeply invested in access. So it's not surprising to me that as students find themselves concerned about financial aid, as they worry about the federal government's support of higher education, that more private colleges and universities are stepping up and making it very clear that we are here for students just like community colleges are, just like state universities are.
We're speaking with Smith College President Sarah Willie-LeBreton about the Next 150 initiative, which allows for 150,000 families who make up to $150,000 annually to be tuition free if they get into Smith College. And you did mention community colleges, which we know now in Massachusetts are accessible to all, financially at least, as they are free to all. But there was a time where if my son, who I mentioned went to Bard, where you used to teach, it was going to go to UMass Amherst, he would maybe be able to work a part-time job, go to that school, and essentially leave debt-free. Bard is a private institution. It was more affordable for our family to send him to Bard with the grants and the scholarships and things that Bard had to offer versus going to UMass Amherst. Is this the direction that higher education is going, where we as a state and a nation are not prioritizing these public institutions like UMass, and where private institutions that do have large endowments like Smith College have to fill that gap?
I do think that private institutions are stepping in to fill the gap, but I wouldn't lay the blame at the feet of the public institutions. They have been receiving less and less federal funding, and so they've been under tremendous amount of pressure in order to try to make up that gap. They still are a fantastic bang for the buck, right? But I do think that students nationwide need to look at all of their options, because you're right. It's often the case that a first choice college may be less expensive, considering what kinds of financial incentives a college can give to students, may be less expensive than the local state institution. That's not always the case, but it's often the case. And I think when students are in high school and they're looking through all of the different possibilities, sometimes they look at tuition, room, and board, they see the sticker price, and they stop there. I can't afford that, so they don't even apply. But there are many schools that that do have really robust financial aid offers, and students don't know that until they read a little bit further. So I think one of the things that we're hoping with this announcement of in our 150th year, $150,000 for a family income means free tuition is a way to signal broadly, quickly, simply, clearly that you will have the financial aid that you need, and we will meet all of your designated need, even if your family makes more than that. So there are not that many ways for us to do that quick signaling, and this allows us to communicate really clearly for students who are interested in Smith.
How does this next 150 initiative, or pledge rather, change your Smith College's tactics towards proactive recruitment?
Well, I think one of the things that we're realizing is it's really important to recruit proactively. We have long had a national and international student body, but our proportions of students who come from other parts of the country and the world are not always what we'd want them to be because the word hasn't always gotten out there so completely. This helps us get the word out there. I think we're realizing that the more we travel the country, the more we participate in college access programs, the more we visit the Southwest, the more we visit Latin America and Africa and Asia, the more we visit cities that we hadn't typically visited before. Every place we go, we find outstanding students who are well prepared, who are really excited to take advantage of a first-rate, rigorous education on a gorgeous campus with values that we know will resonate with them. So it's on us now to get the word out, and we're doing that, and I think this initiative is part of that.
And the initiative is the Next 150 initiative at Smith College, and we're speaking with Smith College President Sarah Willie-LeBreton. This isn't the first initiative to offer scholarships to people that might not otherwise be able to afford to come to Smith College. And you mentioned how the tables have essentially turned from people that were paying the full ride in larger percentages to people receiving scholarships in larger percentages. How has that changed Smith College, the campus? What do you hear from faculty and staff of the impacts that has had over the last however long that formula has been flipped?
Oh, that's such a great question. When I meet with alums who are celebrating their 50th reunion or their 60th or their 70th, they come back to campus and they say it's a different place. Indeed, many of the trustees who join say that they loved Smith and they got a great education, but they didn't necessarily feel like Smith was welcoming to them if they had any minority status whatsoever. And they may have been identified as white, but been a religious minority, or been a sexual orientation minority, right? Or been a class minority. And now they come back and they see just how diverse our campus is, and they feel so good because they know that the students are just as bright. They know that the place is even more diverse, and that current students are learning as much from each other as they are in the classroom because of the diversity that's represented on campus. So it's changed in a lot of ways, and I think for the better. When I talk to faculty who have been longtime participants at the college, who've been there for, again, 30, 40, 50 years, they've said that it has changed dramatically and for the better. So all of that makes me feel like I've landed at the right place, and a place that is really living into its values.
Anytime I've mentioned this recent news announcement about this $150,000 family household threshold, people ask me, well, how are they going to pay for that? So I ask you, President Sarah Willie-LeBreton, how is Smith College paying for this to allow this to happen? How can it go forward if there aren't enough people paying tuition at Smith College while federal grants are cut, while it's really hard from the state level to support institutions of higher learning?
Because capitalism's still real.
This is where we really have our alums to thank. They have been enormously generous, and they have paid it forward again and again every single year. We were one of the largest women's colleges for a very long time. Indeed, one of the largest liberal arts colleges, full stop, in the country for a very long time. So we have one of the largest alumni bases of not only the women's colleges, but liberal arts colleges in general. We have 54,000 living alums. and they have stepped forward fully and completely to offer their philanthropy in small and large amounts because they believe in this kind of outreach.
Well, we'll find out more about what's happening at Smith College in just a little bit and hear from some of the pressures that Smith College and other higher institutions are feeling from the White House in just a little bit with Smith College President Sarah Willie-LeBreton.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
That's Smithy, Tia Blake.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Eastworks, 4 floors of makers, artists, and entrepreneurs located in the Mill District in East Hampton, where community happens. Learn more at eastworks.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Comfort Bagel, scratch-made artisan sourdough bagels, spreads, and sandwiches for breakfast or lunch on Main Street in Westfield and at their new location in Holyoke at 92 Race Street. ComfortBagel.com.
Another Smith College alum, Rose Jang. And we are with the president of Smith College, Sarah Willie-LeBreton, not only talking about the Next 150 initiative, but about some of the pressures that we have felt here at NEPM with the end of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with the rescission package clawing back federal allocated funding for public media. And there has been untold pressures on universities,
Especially those that are mostly single-gendered. And although, like, Smith College does allow non-binary and transgendered students, you have faced some repercussions because of that.
Yes, in June 2025, the conservative legal group Defending Education filed a civil rights complaint with the U.S. Department of Education against Smith College. And there on the Smith College website is a meeting the moment sort of website helping to educate the Smith community about what the plan is at Smith. How has Smith been addressing the pressures from Washington, D.C.?
Actually, we're continuing to do what we do. You know, about a decade ago, we answered this question for ourselves and we resolved it. We have rejected the assumption that there are different kinds of women, different types of women. And so we admit women, whether they identify as transgender, non-binary, or cisgender. So for us, that has been settled. I wish that I could comment on the Defending Education complaint, but frankly, we haven't even heard from the Department of Education yet. So I really wouldn't want to legitimize something that we don't even know is real.
Is it because they're trying to dismantle it and have it not exist anymore?
The Department of Education?
Yeah, maybe they're busy dismantling right now.
You know what? I think you just answered your own question
Fair
there.
enough.
I don't know, but I do know that we haven't heard from them. And certainly I'd be delighted to answer the question once we know if the complaint has even been filed.
It's interesting because many institutions, in advance of the pressure that they think they may receive legally, will take steps that they have not been asked to do.
Cough,
so you're
cough,
saying,
Columbia, cough, cough.
Yeah, so there, and other institutions of higher learning have done that too. What other pressures has the Trump administration brought upon Smith College that you have felt or have heard about from the White House? Mm-hmm. Or is it really just in the ether and there's nothing that has actually happened yet?
A lot of noise.
I think it's a both and. We are a Carnegie designated research college, which means we're not a typical liberal arts college. A disproportionate number of our faculty do very serious research and have won federal grants to do so. We had probably about 8 of our grants canceled, but that's out of 100. So the majority were not. And we've just won a handful of more new grants from the federal government. So I'm optimistic and I'm pleased. I know the pressures have been much more serious on the major research institutions that have depended on those grants actually for their annual operating budgets. So I have nothing negative to say about schools that have been trying to keep the doors open. One of the things that people misunderstand is that even schools with large endowments often are facing the fact that their endowments are restricted, and so they can only spend that money on certain things. And the federal grants have allowed universities to do really extraordinary cutting-edge research while also helping to support the next generation of researchers, and that's graduate students. And so the grants that come by way of the big research universities not only help to school and educate the next generation of graduate students, they also help to keep the doors open by adding to the operating budgets of those schools. So those universities are in a very, very difficult situation. Smith does have researchers on our campus, and it's one of the reasons our students want to come to a place where they will be known and seen by their faculty, and have the opportunity to do original research in their laboratories, in the archives, working side by side with their professors. But it doesn't account for the majority of our operating budget, and so we have a little bit more leeway.
What's something that you learned leading at Swarthmore that still stays with you 2 years into being at the helm of Smith?
That's a wonderful question. I think one of the things that I learned is that you can't over-communicate. When times are difficult, when there's a lot swirling politically, and when the atmosphere is rife with rumor and anxiety, it's better when you're sitting in the chair as an administrator to over-communicate than to under-communicate. Because I think in this moment, a lot of people are very nervous about what the implications will be for higher education. Are we educating the next generation, not only of scientists, but of the poets and the visual artists that will help us through difficult times? Are we educating people with regard to visual literacy so that they understand what they're seeing when they log on to social media? Are we educating people with regard to ethics when they get their first jobs at Google, right? Are we helping people to show up to their finance jobs ready to really take on the hard questions?
Final question in the last 30 seconds. You've been at Smith for 2 years now. Mountain Day was last Tuesday. There are some Smith professors that believe that Mountain Day can only be on a Tuesday. Is that true or false?
It's false.
Okay, good. Just wanted, as my wife who teaches there on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, she wants to know that you know that Mountain Day could be on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday.
Yes, it could.
Smith College President Sarah Willie-LeBreton with the new 150 initiative, the next 150 free tuition for folks whose families are making under $150,000 a year. It's a great initiative in line with Mount Holyoke College as well, and perhaps the future of higher education in the United States of America. This is Smith College alum Merrill Garbus from the band Tune Yards.
I love that we had this whole conversation about communication and then you didn't say what Mountain Day is.
Mountain Day is like a day that the Smith College professors get off and the kids get off and they're supposed to go and look at the mountains and have a great time. It is a fun event. But
pick apples.
Yeah.
Pick apples,
go hiking.
All that good
Exactly.
stuff. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so
President
much
Sarah
for being with
Willie-LeBreton.
us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
On the next Fabulous 413, we get an offer we can't refuse from the Springfield Symphony Orchestra, who under the new leadership of Heather Casey Roberts starts the new season this Saturday with the Godfather score.
And comic writers Charles Foreman and Melissa Mendez talk about their heartfelt new books before their appearance at Comics and More in East Hampton this weekend.
Plus the explorative sounds of Hamed Sinno, who'll bring his latest work, Poems of Consumption, to the Fine Arts Center on October 9th. We only have a couple $100 to go to meet our goal this hour. I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Clee Smith. We'll talk to you tomorrow on this Fabulous 413. No geese, we promise.